Hey mate, before you enjoy today's episode, I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about the free 14-day transformation that we are currently running inside of the Unbreakable Man team. Now, if you're a man on the Gold Coast who's serious about improving his physical and mental health, building his self-confidence, and you want to become a part of a team of motivated and like-minded men, then this is the best chance that you are going to get. So as part of the 14-day transformation, you're going to get a personalized meal plan and a recipe cookbook to help you get your diet under control. You're going to be training with myself and the Unbreakable Man team for 2 whole weeks, and I'll be there by your side, helping you overcome any of the challenges that you will face along the way. If that sounds good, then get in touch with me by emailing me at mitch@unbreakableman.com.au. You can find all of my contact details on the website, which is just www.unbreakableman.com.au. Or you can message me on social media. Instagram is unbreakableman_challenge, and Facebook is just Unbreakable Man. That sounds good to you? Hit me up. I hope to hear from you soon. Back to the episode. Hey brother, Coach Mitch here, and welcome to today's episode of the Unbreakable Man podcast. Now, today's episode is about the cost of inaction. When I talk to fellas on the phone or in person who are looking to improve themselves in some way, and then we sit down and talk about perhaps what Unbreakable Man can do for them. And, obviously price is absolutely something that people need to be aware of because money doesn't grow on trees and it is what it is. But one of the things that I think we often don't consider is, what is the price that I'm paying if I don't do this? What is the price that I'm paying if I don't take action on this thing in my life that I'm not happy with? And that's often a question I ask fellas who want to join Unbreakable Man but aren't sure about the money side of things. They're just like, look man, just weigh it up. Just weigh it up and decide if it's worth it to you. What you're getting out of this versus what it costs to actually be a part of it. And whenever I think about the cost of inaction, there's always one story from my personal life that comes back to me. And this is quite an intense story. This is a very real scenario and kind of extreme. However, it happens. And it happens more than we care to admit. So this story is about a friend of mine called Andy. And the way that I know this guy or knew this guy is he actually sold me my second motorcycle. He was like the dealer at the motorcycle dealership and had built a bit of a relationship with him over time. He knew I was a personal trainer and we spoke on a few occasions, and he had lots of stuff going on in his personal life. His relationship with the mother of his kids wasn't very good. He had issues with alcohol, drink driving, stuff like that. I felt for the guy. I don't know what it was in his life that led him to this point. However, that was a situation that he was often dealing with. And on probably 3 separate occasions over maybe a 2-year period, he reached out to me or I reached out to him. We would have a chat. He talked to me about the things that he wanted to change. And now I'd talk to him about, okay, cool, well, here's how we can help you do it, man. Here's the times for the sessions, and here's how much it costs, and here's what we're going to do, and here's going to be the outcome of it. And even on the times where he was like, yep, let's do it, nothing would eventuate. And time would just go by and no action would be getting taken. There'd be conversations, but no actual action. And probably a year, maybe 2 years after the last time we had a chat, his Facebook told me it was his birthday, and I sent him a message, happy birthday Andy, how you going brother? And his sister messaged me back maybe 15 minutes after that, and she told me that Andy's actually passed away about 6 months ago from a heart attack. Now this fella was mid-40s and has 2 sons, and they were under 10 at the time. 2 boys that now don't have a dad. And this is a fella who on several separate occasions over the years prior to this moment spoke with someone who genuinely gave a shit about him becoming better, who genuinely cared about him improving the things in his life that were holding him back, that were stopping him from being a great role model for his kids. You know, who was serious about helping him get to the place where he needed to be and overcome some of the bad habits that were holding him back. Several separate occasions. And even in those moments, you know, maybe for him, like, he was like, oh, you know, the cost is something that is hard for me to justify. If we knew where we were headed in life, if we knew what was coming up for us, you know, perhaps we would understand that the investment in ourselves today is nothing compared to the negative long-term effects of not making that investment. You know, this man could still be around right now if he'd got a handle on his health, on his mental health. And I'm not saying it had to be Unbreakable Man. It could be anything. At the end of the day, I don't really care as long as you're doing the thing that you need to do to get yourself right. You know, this is just one option, but it's not the only thing. You've got to find what's right for you. But actually do the thing though. Take the steps, man. Because a lot of dudes, and I know more guys than this, more guys than Andy, who are fellas who work themselves to the bone, who drink, who overeat, who don't look after their physical health. And I'm like, bro, you're a ticking time bomb. You are a ticking fucking time bomb. And they're like, you know, I'm working so hard for my family. And obviously, dude, I get that. Like, that is our job as men. That is our burden, is that it's on us to make sure that everyone's provided for. That truly, and that's weight. That's a lot of weight to carry. So, you know, I can't say a bad word about the guys that are putting in serious effort for that. But what I do say when fellas tell me stuff like that is I'm like, exactly. That's why you got to look after yourself, dude. Because Andy is literally not here for his boys anymore. They don't have a father. They're missing out on all of that because of work that wasn't done. So all this stuff that you're currently doing for your family and that you're not doing for yourself to get yourself in the best possible situation, physically and mentally, your family might not have you for that much longer. You know, I know that's, again, sounds extreme. It happens. And maybe you don't have a heart attack at 45. Maybe you have a heart attack at 60. That's not that old, man. You're missing out on grandkids. You know, maybe you'd never get to walk your little girl down the aisle. And for what? You know, you wanted to save a couple extra bucks. Or you know, you wanted to buy the big TV or something like that. You know, something that when you look at if you could see your life as a whole ahead of time and know what was happening and really get perspective on what you were giving up for what you're choosing to prioritize today, maybe you wouldn't do it. Maybe you'd go, you know what? Screw this. The most important thing that I can do right now is become the best man that I can be for myself and for the people around me. You know, that doesn't just mean providing financially, that means providing emotionally. That means providing a great example. That means providing energy. That means providing enthusiasm. And for all those things, I need to be in great physical and mental shape. And I suppose that one of the reasons why a lot of us find it really difficult to make those investments, because that investment is kind of a risk. Like, we don't know what's going to happen next. And we never really know the bullet that we've dodged by making this investment. Like, you know, I've got guys in the Unbreakable Man who've been with me for 5 or 6 years. And I'm so grateful that they've made that a part of their life. Because had they never done that 5 or 6 years ago, the person that they would be today would be fat, low on energy, not a great example for their kids, probably not feeling particularly attractive to their partner, maybe not even having a partner, you know, just going through the motions. and certainly having a lot less really quality friends in their life. And also having not done a whole bunch of cool stuff over the last 5 or 6 years. Like, that's who they would be today. So when they've made that investment consistently over those 5 years, that's what they get. That's what they've been able to accomplish, is having epic life experiences, being a great role model for their kids, feeling great within themselves, having confidence in their physical capability, and also their ability to push through difficult times in their life. And again, you never know the bullets that you've dodged. Maybe some of these fellas would have had strokes or heart attacks or have diabetes today if they hadn't made that investment 5 years ago and continued to do it the whole time. You never see those things. But I think we all know how people get to those places, right? We know what happens, what the kind of life that someone typically leads right before they have a heart attack. And don't get me wrong, there's guys out there that are in great physical condition and have heart attacks, right? But statistically, we know what a guy's life usually looks like before something like that happens. And it's not just physical health, right? It's also personal issues. Like, the cost of inaction is you understanding that there's some issue in your relationship, and you choosing not to do counseling, choosing not to work on perhaps your own the things that are choosing not to work on the things about yourself that detract from the quality of the relationship. And then over time, those things compound, and all of a sudden your wife wants to get a divorce. And that's the cost of inaction. The cost of action is, paying to go and see a counselor and having conversations that are perhaps a bit awkward in the beginning. Or the cost of action is also confronting some of the parts of yourself that aren't very good, that don't help the relationship. That's the cost of action. But the result of taking those actions is you get to have a great relationship for the rest of your life. And you get to be a better man. Happier, more confident. But no, there's a lot of men out there that are choosing inaction because action is scary today in the moment, and inaction kicks that can down the road. But the thing at the end of that road is catastrophic. It's relationship failure, it's body failure, it's mental health failure, it's burnout. I'll tell you a story from my own life, and something that it's a cookie in my cookie jar. If you watched last week's episode, you'll understand that concept. But it's something that I often think about whenever I am confronted with the decision of whether to make an investment. And it's not just about investment of money, it's about an investment of time, energy, effort, whatever it might be. I often think about this in those moments. And this goes right back to before I started Unbreakable Man, which was in March of 2018. So this was towards the end of 2017. And if I hadn't done this, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be running this amazing program for men. I wouldn't be talking to you on the Unbreakable Man podcast, having recorded over 50 episodes. I wouldn't have climbed mountains. I wouldn't have faced a lot of my own personal fears. Like, a lot of what I have accomplished in the last almost 7 years is down to this decision that I made. And it was the decision to get a business coach back at the end of 2017. And just for context, in 2017, I was a PT working just with clients one-on-one. And I got to the point where I completely booked out. I was working 35, 40 hours a week in the gym, plus probably another 15 hours at home doing all the admin side of stuff and programming. And it gets to the point where you physically can't do any more hours of sessions. And I'm asking myself, well, how do I move from here? Because I'm not working, I don't want to work anymore. But I can't stagnate at this point. So it was about, okay, well, how can I create a business model that is not just better for me, but is also better for the people that I'm serving? And I saw the ad on Facebook for this fella. His name is Lynn Trin. Shout out to Lynn. Mate, you're probably never going to see this, but I often think about what you've given me, man. And massive props and respect to you, brother. And it was about the program on how to create a group training program. So I was doing the program to learn how to create the program, and I got on the sales call with the guy from the business, and on that call, and I'm 22 at the time, I've probably got 10 grand in my bank account, and on that call, the pitch for this program was $6,000 up front, and I'm 22 with 10K in the bank, and this is what I was faced with. And I'm really glad that the fella on the other end of this call pushed me to make the decision right then and there on the spot. Obviously, it's a sales tactic, and I fell for it hook, line, and sinker, but I'm so fucking happy that I did because it changed my life. And I paid $6,000 to a bloke I'd never met before, to a program that, they don't really tell you that much about what the program actually involves. And I'm also glad that they didn't do that too, because a lot of what the program involved was stuff that I was not comfortable with. It was just like how Ranj felt on Mount Barney. Again, if you listen to last week's episode, that's how I was feeling with some of these things that I had to do. I'm glad that they didn't tell me that as well, because that maybe would have been one of the things that would have stopped me from taking that action. So I paid it. I paid the $6,000. And I did everything that they asked me to do after that. It was about then going and paying for Facebook advertisements, getting on the phone with people and selling people over the phone. And I've never done that before. And that felt really awkward and clunky. And then training people initially online and then moving into the group fitness training that I do now. And had I not taken that chance, had I not acted then and there, then I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have the success that I have now. I wouldn't have the vision that I have now. I wouldn't have the purpose in my life that I have now. I wouldn't be the man that I am now if I hadn't done that. And you might hear this story and go, that is the dumbest thing. I would never do that. And I don't blame you. I do not blame you. I've definitely invested in things since then that didn't give me a return on investment, or as good as I was hoping. However, each and every time that I do that, I learn from it. I learn, okay, well, what am I not going to do next time? Or what did I get from this that was actually good? And I always get something good from it. And one of the things that helps me make decisions like that have the potential to really transform my life and the situations that I'm in, is because I often say to myself, well, if I don't do this, if I don't take action on this, what the fuck am I going to do? I can't stay in the place that I am right now. My business can't stay the way it is right now. It has to improve. I don't necessarily know what that's going to look like or precisely what steps I need to take. But if I never start trying things, then I'm never going to figure it out. And if I don't figure it out, then I've truly failed. Most of the reason why we fail to act is because we're afraid of failing. We're afraid of it not working out. We're afraid of wasting money. We're afraid of people finding out that we've tried something and failed. But every single man that you know who has done anything exceptional in his life has had way more failures than you've ever had. You just don't know it. You're just unaware of all the shit that guy had to go through. I've probably spent tens of thousands of dollars on things that didn't work just to find the one thing that did, and that one thing changed my whole life. That one thing set me on the path that I'm on right now. And I don't regret all of the money that you might say that I've wasted, because I had to waste it to find the thing that worked. And therefore, all of it was an investment in becoming the person that I am today and having the results that I have today. And I would spend that money again to find what the next step is. Because I know that if I do that, then one day in the future, I'll be looking back at the person I am right now, and I'll be really glad that I made those investments to get myself to that next level. But that's what I say to myself. I can't stay here. Here is not good. Here is shit. I know that I'm losing if I stay here. And look, and it might not even be that here is shit, because I love my life. I love the way that everything's going. But if I stay here, then, I've stagnated. I'm not moving forwards. I'm never going to know what life could be like and how good things could be and what I could provide for myself and the people that I care about if I don't take the next step. And that is unacceptable. The scariest thing in life is not failure, is not trying and losing. The scariest thing in life, to me at least, is getting to the end of my life and regretting not having done more, and regretting taking the easy path, and regretting allowing fear to hold me back. That's the scariest thing in life. Getting to the end of your life, having no time to change your circumstances anymore because you've already done it. There's no do-overs. And realizing that all the things that you allowed to stop you, all of the fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, none of those things actually mattered. None of those things were really that important or could actually hurt you. You just allowed yourself to think that they could. And that will be the ultimate regret. Like, Andy, for example, if he knew that he was going to have a heart attack at 45, then he would have done whatever he needed to do in the years leading up to that to make sure that wasn't the case. But he didn't know that, and none of us know what is in store for us in the future. However, if we're doing things over and over again that we know are unhealthy, physically and mentally and in our personal life, then you can just allow yourself to think that that's probably not going to help you. Just allow yourself to think that I'm heading in a direction that's going to really hurt me one day. I need to change my trajectory. And look, there'll be people out there that smoke a pack a day of cigarettes and never get lung cancer. Sure. However, if you are that guy, treat it like you're probably like the 95% of people who will die of lung cancer and not the 5% of people that don't, miraculously. It's more than, if you're doing things that are unhealthy in some way in your life over and over again, more than likely it's going to lead down a path that you really don't want to go down. And if you're doing things that are healthy, that are challenging you positively, that are improving your relationships, even if those things are difficult today, then chances are it's going to set you up for an absolutely beautiful future. And not just you, but especially if you're a father, you're setting your children up for an absolutely beautiful future. And if you do that for your kids, they do it for their kids, and so on and so forth. And you've created an amazing, positive cycle through the generations, through your actions. So take action, boys. One of the worst things that we can do is to just stand still and do nothing. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes there is an element of timing to it, which is like, if I wait now and then I act maybe a little bit later, I'll get a better outcome. That's absolutely true. However, I can guarantee you that never acting is the worst possible thing. So even if you don't know when the perfect time is to take your action, over a long enough period of time in life, you will win because you took action. I'll just give you one simple example of that just to finish off. Let's say you're waiting for the perfect time to buy a house, for example. There's a couple of different ways you could do this. You could be waiting and thinking, well, I'm going to wait till the house market drops and then I'm going to buy, and that means that I'm going to get a really great price on my house. Now, you have no idea what the future holds. Maybe the house prices will drop. Maybe they won't. But you and I both know that if you buy a house and you wait 10 years, or certainly if you wait 20 years, it's going to be worth a lot more than it was when you bought it, regardless of what happens between now and that 20 years in the future. So just buy if you want to do that. And if you can, just buy. And then if the price drops after that, don't worry about it. Continue to live in your house and pay your mortgage. 20 years down the track, you're not even going to care because you're in a better place than you would have been had you waited. And then maybe that dip that you're waiting for never comes. And now you've missed your chance. So we can't see the future, lads. We don't know what is in store for us precisely. However, if we're smart and we're honest with ourselves, we know that doing bad things, or at least failing to do good things over and over again, is going to lead us to a place that isn't very positive. And doing good things over and over again, doing healthy things, doing productive things over and over again, even though in the moment sometimes it can be more challenging, it can only take us to a place that's better. And one of the most expensive things that you can choose to do is nothing. So, with that said, brother, I hope that makes some sense to you, and I hope that that perhaps inspires you to take action on something in your life that you have been putting off, and that you know damn well is only taking you to a place that you do not want to go to. So I hope that inspires you to take some action. If it did, then I would love to hear from you, man. Feel free to flick me an email if this was a podcast that really stood out to you or had an impact on you. I'd love to hear what your story is, mate, and perhaps there's even a conversation that we could have that could help you even further with that too. All right. With that said, my man, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to speaking to you again on the next episode. Cheers.
Hey, mate, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Unbreakable Man podcast. If you did, it would be absolutely fantastic if you could leave us a 5-star review, because that's going to help us get our message in front of more men who need to hear it. Now, if you have some feedback for me, I'd love to hear that too. Comment down below. And if you just need some mini doses of Unbreakable Man motivation throughout your week, then you can follow us across all social platforms. On Facebook, it's Unbreakable Man Challenge. On Instagram, it's Unbreakable Man_challenge. And on TikTok and YouTube, it's just Unbreakable Man. Your support would be absolutely invaluable. Now, last but not least, do not forget, men aren't born, they're built.